President Trump alone and isolated, or that's at least how he wanted to be seen at the start of the day's proceedings, even shooing away an assistant. NATO will not forget this day, the day a stern-looking US president came here with a clear narrative in his mind. He created a crisis, even hinting he might pull out of the alliance before declaring a victory.
Tremendous progress has been made. Everyone's agreed to substantially up their commitment. They're going to up it at levels that they've never thought of before. Prior to last year, where I attended my first meeting, it was going down. The amount of money being spent by countries was going down, and down very substantially.
Earlier, Trump was late for a meeting between NATO allies and partner countries Ukraine and Georgia. The cameras were no longer in the room by the time the president once again brought up NATO defense spending, an issue everyone else thought had been settled. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg had to ask Ukraine and Georgia to leave as NATO went into emergency session. While Trump insists they made new, much increased spending commitments, his allies later denied that. Nothing new had been agreed. There is a familiar pattern here. Trump is still declaring his diplomacy with North Korea is going well, even though the country itself, which has made no firm commitments, has just called recent talks troubling.
That was an amazing, really an amazing meeting, I thought. And I really think that we established very good relationships. We'll see where it all lands, but there have been no missile tests. There have been no research. They have blown up a site. I hear they're blowing up another site, missile site.
So what actually was achieved at this NATO summit? Virtually nothing, and it exposed the divisions within the alliance. The person that is going to benefit is Russian President Vladimir Putin, who President Trump meets at the beginning of next week. The US president was asked about that meeting. He was positive. He was asked too about Russian annexation of Crimea. He was once again positive about Putin and at no point called for Russia to withdraw from Crimea. The next few days will continue to be worrying ones for NATO allies. James Bays, Al Jazeera, at NATO headquarters in Brussels.